Hey, this is Magda K, and welcome to this video in which I want to talk about the very deep judgments that we carry about the opposite sex. So maybe you've done a lot of personal growth work and you've been really facing the stereotypes that you carry in yourself, and you may be thinking, no, I'm done with this. I don't judge women collectively, I don't judge men collectively. The truth is that on a very deep level, we still carry these judgments. It's just that at first, there's a lot of them. And then over time, when we do this kind of a work, they become smaller, or maybe they become more hidden, but some of them are still deep inside of us. And it's really important to be aware of them because they impact how we treat the opposite sex, most importantly, how we treat our partner in a relationship. And because these beliefs, these judgments, they're so deep, they're so hidden, we're not aware of this, so we have absolutely no idea that certain behavior that we engage in is actually based on those judgments. So totally unconsciously and without any intention of doing so, we can be putting down our partner, judging them, playing passive-aggressive games, because all of it comes from a certain concept that, oh, women are like this or men are like this. And I want to share with you my story, so I'm going to talk mostly about my conditioning as a woman towards men and something that recently came up to me that I became aware of. So keep in mind, I work with men mostly, and I absolutely love working with men. I believe that as women we attack men too much, and instead of inviting men to help us lift each other up, we often want to go up by stepping on men. So a lot of my work, it's about showing women to embrace men and love them for who they are instead of emasculating them, so really to bring out the best in them. And so when a few months ago this thing happened, I was like, wow, I was so shocked, because I realized that I also carry this deep collective judgment. So about a couple of months ago, there's few things that happened around me with my lovers and my male friends, and I just started feeling a lot of anger towards men, generally towards men, not towards any specific men for doing this or doing that. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. I thought I've done enough work to move through that I would not throw all of the men into one basket and then have a judgment over all of them. And yet that's where I ended up being. And that's what really opened my eyes to this idea that, wow, there is on a deep level this collective judgment. And a few months before that, we did an exercise which really showed just how much we actually still carry these stereotypes. So it was one of these, tantric retreats, and the exercise we did is that for a day, all the women pretended to be men and all the men pretended to be women. So us women, we dressed like these cool dudes, and we even put bananas in our pants to really feel like a guy. And then we were put into different situations and exercises where we would have to play out the role of a man, and the man would have to play out the role of a woman. And something that totally didn't even occur to us, all of the women, it only came out when men started sharing how they felt, having seen how women perceive a man, what it's like to be a man, men started raising hands and saying, wow, is this really what you think about us? And I was like, wow, what a eye-opening moment, because what we did, all of us, basically every single woman, we started portraying a man in a very negative way. Like this dude who's hitting on women, it's like, hey, lady, ooh, nice tits. And the thing is, yeah, it was also fun and all, but why is it that pretty much every single one of us tapped into this very negative and limiting idea of what it's like to be a man? And even if maybe some of us, had a thought of maybe stepping into a more mature masculine presence, in a way the collective, the group of other women being this, oh, I'm such a cool dude, this energy pulled you back into, doing the same. And so at the end of the exercise, yes, so many men voiced out that it was so extremely painful that this is what women think about them. Because truth is, not a single man in that retreat actually behaved like that. Now, yes, they also had a specific idea about us women, the way they presented women is this like helpless creatures that cannot do anything by themselves. So this negative stereotype really goes both ways. And games like this is when you really get to see, wow, I do carry this conditioning. So of course I want to share with you tips how you can learn about your own judgments and what you can do with that, because the goal is to release as much as we can so that we can really show up in an authentic way and treat our partner for the individual that he or she is, and not having them pay the price for something that other women or other men have done. So if you can do the role playing, that's amazing. Go for it. I think actually for any couple, it can be such a fun thing when for a day you change the genders and a woman acts like a man for a whole day and a man acts like a woman. I think it can be a really, really great, fun exercise that not only will give you insights into what my judgments be, but also just a great thing to bring into relationships that may feel stagnant. Anytime you do something totally new and different, it really revives the relationship. So that's the first thing you can play with. But another thing you can do is simply take a piece of paper and start writing down or just contemplating. And look at certain figures of the opposite sex and look at what you hate about them the most. So for example, for me as a woman, if I want to know about my judgments against men, the first person I would look at is my father. So what are the things that really, not even just upset me, but piss me off about my dad? Things that I really hate about him, And yeah, I could keep going. And there's some things that are coming to my mind right away, and others where I would have to really sit down and think about it to really get everything. Because sometimes we may not be aware that we're angry over something. So give yourself time. But the number one person is your father or your mother for men. Now, if there's any other male figure that was very present in your life when you were growing up, take them as well. So for me, it would be my grandfather. And I actually probably have more judgments or things that I really cannot stand and I really, really don't like about my grandfather than my father. So my father, I can have a short list, but my grandpa, I could really keep going. Now I have only one grandpa, so I will talk about one. Take any grandmas, any grandpas, uncles and aunts, anyone who was very present in your life. The same with siblings. If you have a brother or sister, whether younger or older, look at them. Then outside of the family, so look at your friends. I find it quite interesting that I find myself sometimes having judgments towards men. So when I was living in Italy, that was over 10 years ago, and for a while I was sharing a house with two men. And so we were really good friends, and they would often forget that I am not a man. And it was kind of funny, the conversations that they would have. And I was like, wow, is that what you guys talk about when women are not around? And frankly, I really didn't like it. I found it so disrespectful towards women. And so there's some things I know about my friends that they will talk about and do, and oh my God, I definitely do not like that. So once again, there's something that annoys me, that makes me angry about my male friends. Then look at your partner if you have one right now. And once again, what are the things that really, really annoy you about your girlfriend or boyfriend or any other lovers that you have? And also look at your past relationships. And when you have all of these, lists or insights in your mind, and it's always better to write it down because it's like straight in front of you, so you're not going to forget anything. So once you have those lists in front of you, you can start noticing that, wow, there's certain qualities that keep popping. There's something that really annoys me about my father, but also about my grandfather and about my boyfriend and about my male friend. It's like, whoa, okay, so that is something that it's not linked to the individual person, that is linked to a more of a collective concept. And when you start seeing your own patterns, this is when you're bringing awareness. Okay, so it seems like I carry the judgment about this or that. And once you know that, knowing is the most important step to changing anything. And, even in any programs, for alcoholics or for any addicts, the very first step is to become aware that you have a problem, right? So I'm becoming aware. Wow, I have this judgment I didn't know about. And look, and what are something specifically happened to you? If there's any logical, conscious reason for you to have those judgments, it doesn't matter, because we can carry energy in our body that has nothing to do with anything that happened to you. Like, you don't need a logical reason to carry energy of something, right? So the first thing is just, okay, I have these judgments. And from this point onwards, observe yourself when you interact with the opposite sex. And bring the awareness, wow, is it possible? Is it possible that I'm coming from my judgment? So I want to share with you a story. That's something that happened not very long ago. We were on a trip in Australia on a boat, and we stayed about 3 nights on this boat, and the whole crew was men. I think it was 3 or 4 men, and one man who was the main guide, he was also cooking for us. And so we have these big bowls of food, it was a buffet for the whole, like 10-20 people on the boat. And me and a few other women were sitting around the table, and there was a few bowls with salads on the table, and there's other people passing by to take some food on the plate and keep going. And so this guy comes, and he's putting some food on his plate, and then he dropped the spoon. And the next thing he does, he takes the spoon from the floor and he's about to put it back into the bowl. So all of the women go like, no, screaming to stop him. And he just kind of was like lost, and then he washed it and then he put it back. And then after that, one of these girls said out loud, she said, wow, men are so stupid. Now, a day before, we were sitting on a boat and talking about relationships. And she was talking a lot about the men that she used to date and how they're not showing up like in the mature, strong masculinity. So she was complaining, saying that, she cannot find a good, decent man. So after she made that comment, I spoke to her and I said, well, if you think that all men are stupid, how are you expecting to meet one that's not? And it was a really profound moment because, like I said, most of us don't realize we have these judgments. So this is an example for you that, you may make a comment like this without realizing that it comes from your beliefs about the other gender. But it's impacting who you're going to attract intimately or who you are not going to attract intimately. I have a private group for men and private group for women. And there was one post I shared with my men. And I talked about how me and my lover, we went out for a date, for dinner. And the stuff was really disorganized. So kind of like my Virgo stepped in. And I just kind of started like, bossing around a little bit. And then I was like, whoa, shoot, I'm on a date. Am I like too masculine? And so I shared the story in my, in the group that I have for men. And I asked them, how would you feel in that specific situation? And I described it. And one man commented saying that you would have probably enjoyed the date more if you didn't complain the whole night. And I was like, why are you assuming that I complained for the whole night? I never said that I complained. I said I didn't like how they organized things. So I basically kind of stood up and organized things. I kind of moved the table and had us sit where we wanted to sit. I didn't say I was complaining. And he just automatically jumped into the belief women complain. If women are not happy about something, they're just going to complain the whole night. So again, like, how are you expecting to have a woman in your life who will not complain if that's what you believe? That's the self-fulfilling prophecy, or in the spiritual terms, the law of attraction. So this is why I really wanted to share this with you, because you have to become aware of your very deep judgments to understand what kind of men or women you're attracting and what is the quality of the intimate relationships that you've had so far and that you are in right now. If you're not happy, if you want someone who can show up in a better way for you, then first you have to believe that is possible. If you want this amazing woman or this amazing man, first you have to believe that women are like this or men are like this. You need to move from this negative, judgmental opinion that you have about the other gender into a more uplifting and beneficial one. And that takes work. And it's work that never ends. It's not that you're going to do this exercise now and boom, you're done. Revisit it, because like I said, it may feel like I released all of the judgments around men and then boom, out of nowhere, straight in my face, no, I have not. So it's a constant process that we make, but that's also what life is about. We keep learning and moving forward every single day. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and maybe subscribe to my channel. And if you want to know more about me and have some more personal stories from me, then check the links under this video where you can join my private Facebook groups and follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all of the other amazing ways to stay connected. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I love you much and have a great day.